Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. Next on the agenda is the minutes, November 23rd. Comments?
Yeah, I had a couple of comments in regards to the discussion we had about the policy, the $10,000 policy that we have, anything that we see. Now, I remember there were, and I think Shiloh reiterated, there were a couple of instances where we went beyond the policy and negotiated, but I don't think we actually negotiated. We actually got a notice from one of the companies who did our audit and said that for a nominal fee, they would continue with that existing policy. We did the same thing, I believe, with Archie's. There was nothing really negotiated. It was just put out there. We agreed, not to put it up. The thing I'm concerned about is that I think there are residents here in the town of Jay who are very much interested in perhaps bidding on that. And that's why I brought it to the board's attention. I would hope that we could look into that and put it out to bid. And I know there's to save time, but the time we're talking about is July 1st. So if I'm not mistaken, there's plenty of time to put that out to bid if we decide to. So I was just asking for the board's perhaps reconsideration of that after we approve of the minutes.
Somebody want to reconsider that?
Had a discussion.
Tom?
What's up?
Any other questions, comments? Not, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, November 23rd, 2020. Motion made and seconded, all those in favor?
Tom?
Opposed?
Any old business?
I want to thank Shiloh for giving me the information in regards to the number of responses that we've had from the fire department here in our town. And I think that was very helpful in getting me to understand the complexities and the authority that the fire department has, because I was totally unaware that any event of an emergency, other than a fire or an accident that required an EMS individual, that they would respond. I always thought it was the decision of the town to utilize the ambulance services, which we provide a stipend for their response here in the town. So thank you very much for that, Shiloh. I'm not overly excited about our fire department answering responses at people's homes, but I know it's a service that we can definitely provide.
Yeah. And there is a level that they respond to. They don't respond to all ambulance calls. If there's a call and they get requested, they do respond, but there's a certain level of what they respond to.
Yeah, and I noticed too that there has been repetition as far as responding to the same household time and again. Not numerous times, but a few times. I just thought that was interesting information. Thank you, Shiloh.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda is Hillside Sports Pub liquor and special entertainment licenses. Questions? Comment?
Move, do we approve? Is this one going to be for a year now? seems like we do this every 6 months.
Every year.
Motion made and seconded. The Hilltop Special Entertainment License, all those in favor?
Hillside, Hilltop Body Shop?
Yeah. Hillside.
Okay.
Takes a while.
I know, I almost filled them in for you. Except for your signature.
Oh,
Or, so the second page, it's like, printed, statement.
I got it, Tim. Thank you, sir.
Yep, you're welcome.
next, Budget Committee resignations. Mike Schindler and Trudy Marshall have resigned. And that leaves us 2 regular and 2 alternate positions open. If anybody knows of anybody that would like to join the Budget Committee, please have them let the town office know. Anybody else got any questions or comments on that? Next, select board vacancy. You know, when that, we was first talking about it before, I was in favor of having it sooner, but now, right now, to me, we might as well wait to April as have it a month and a half before then. We'll have more people that will vote at that time in the April one than the special town meeting, as we all know. Anybody else?
No, I agree with you there. We're pushed into the situation now. We might as well wait till April and get everybody in.
You would too? Don?
I agree, we're going to wait and do it, able to do the rest of it. Not incur any more expense or anything else.
Make the motion to fill the vacancy at our regular April town meeting time.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Next, Maine earned paid leave discussion. This looks like, to me, really something that was passed, but wasn't really completely thought through, but maybe, seems like there's some gray areas. And I'm administrating, how you're going to do that, I'm not sure, but.
So this is a new law for the state of Maine, and it starts January 1st. And Lisa's done several classes on trying to figure out how we implement this. For the town, it really is our part-time employees that it affects. If you're under a union contract that already offers more than this, then they're not covered under this until the next time you negotiate. And then you just have to make sure that what they're getting complies with this rule too. So it's basically you get 1 hour of earned paid leave for every 40 hours you work. So for a straight part-time person, that's a fairly easy thing to figure out how they use it. It's pretty straightforward that way. What we're still trying to wrap our heads around and figure out how to implement is how it applies to our like reserve police officers, our on-call fire department, because it captures all of those people, but we're not completely sure how it gets implemented yet. So I was hoping to have the draft section for the personnel policy for this meeting, but we were waiting on some answers from Department of Labor. So just wanted to give you a heads up that it's coming next meeting. And if there's anything that you think of between now and then that you think you'd like to have us explain more detail, and Lisa will stop into the office and go over everything she knows about it as well. But just kind of a heads up that this is coming. It's a state law. It's something we have to do. So.
Is there anybody that would come under this policy that we would have to really concern ourselves with, other than, you mentioned a couple of people, but do they work on an hourly basis? Do they get compensated on an hourly basis?
Yes.
So that would come under this policy, but it would be determined by the 40 hours a week? I mean,
Yeah.
you can accumulate it. You work 10 hours this week, 5 hours next
Correct.
week, 30 hours. So in 40 hours, you would get one
One.
paid sick day for that.
One paid leave hour.
Okay, one paid leave hour.
And it doesn't, you don't necessarily have to be sick. You could use it, you can have a policy that says that you have to give up to 4 weeks notice to use it for a known event. But you can also use it in an emergency situation. If you're sick and you need to go home, you can use it that way, down to 1 hour increments without, prior notice.
So I wish Lisa all the luck in the world of.
Yeah, she's hoping for it too, because it's going to be a lot of extra tracking, a lot of extra going into it just to try to figure out how it gets implemented and then how the people actually can use it. Because if you're just a reserve police officer and you sign up for a shift when you want a shift, well, now you have earned leave that, I don't know, I guess if you have an emergency and you're sick, you could take it at that point, so. But.
Any other questions or comments?
I would just ask that Lisa keep us informed of any new developments that she may come across that we should be apprised of in the development of that policy.
Yep, and like I said, I think we'll have it for the next meeting. So,
Okay.
And what we're planning is just to add it as a paragraph in our personnel policy so that it's not a standalone policy that gets, pushed on the shelf somewhere. It will be part of our personnel policy, so it gets reviewed periodically anyway. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Next, under other business, Representative Lyman and Senator Black are here. They were interested on the vote for 5 commissioners. Before I open it up, a couple of questions. I'm not sure what the difference now between 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, as we know, one of 2 commissioners were at our meeting, and they were against the 5. And I'm not sure what's changed. And I'm not sure what really happened 2 years ago after it left us. Yes.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Representative Lyman was contacted by Representative Landry. Representative Landry is putting this bill back in. And so in conversations with Representative Lyman, I told her that, she ought to talk to Town Jay before she made up her mind on, where she was going to stand on the bill or whether she was going to support the bill. Right now, the bill, and that's why we're on the agenda tonight, because of her contact with the town manager. Right now, there's a title been put in, and it's the same as the title was before. The big issue was that some of the other towns felt that they didn't get a chance to vote on it, that they felt it should have gone to referendum. And in the bill last time, it said that it was up to the county commissioners to decide whether or not it went to referendum. And they voted not to, I think 2-1, not to send it to referendum. I can't remember that for sure, but anyway, it didn't go to referendum, so it died. Right now, there's just a title in it, so it definitely will omit that part upon the Representative Landry. It will not be vetoed by the 3 county commissioners. But I don't know what, because the bill hasn't been written yet, in the new form. I don't know just exactly what it's going to contain. I would imagine it would have the same 5 districts. In order to not have a mandate, it would probably go to a general election, so there wouldn't be any election cost. And then I think you were told that it would cause a increase in taxes. If it's done by the Secretary of State, had said he would do it in a general election, so there wouldn't be a cost for the ballots or a special election if you waited, if it was written that way. And also, there was some concern that 5 county commissioners would rate, that would be 2 more salaries. Well, that's completely up to, right now, it's up to the county commissioners to make that decision themselves. I mean, they could, they get $12,000 a year apiece. I mean, they could decide to divide the 36,000 by 5, or they could raise them all to 12,000, whatever. There's talk of changing the way the budget is set up. There's a committee looking at the statutes, and maybe the budget committee would set the salary. So a lot of stuff is still up in the air, and this is just at the drafting stages. The issue that we as a legislative delegation have is we have other towns that we represent, and those towns are asking us, to move forward with this and let the people decide. If the people of Jay don't want it, they would have an opportunity to vote it out, along with the towns of Farmington or whoever. Right now, the 3 county commissioners come from Wilton, Farmington, and Strong. Dead center, the lower part of the southern part of the county. You've got 2 of the highest valuation, besides Jay, is the 2nd highest evaluated town in the county. Carrabassett is the highest value. Rangeley is 3rd. And they are in the northern part of the county, and they feel that they are not being represented, fairly on their concerns in the county, and they would like to see more representation. And of course, with 5, you would spread out, you'd have more representation per county. You drop from a little over 10,000 in population per county commissioner down to about 7. So I'm going to try to answer any questions that you have. Sheila's here too. She's new at this, and that's why she asked me to come, and I was involved with, I was a co-sponsor last time. I have received letters from other towns asking me to put the legislation in. So I feel that I should put the legislation and be a co-sponsor of the bill because, I have to represent the whole county. I represent all of Franklin County. So that's where we are right now. I can't give you the bill hasn't been drafted yet, so I can't give you the exact. I'm more than willing to come back with a drafted bill when we get it. But we wanted to give you a heads up. Representative Lyman was concerned. This is all new to her, and she wanted to, let you know that it was moving forward, so you guys could be thinking about it and deciding where you wanted to go with this.
And I'm in a position that if I want to do what Jay is interested in having done as far as this goes. So that's why I called the town manager to see what your position was on it.
Jay is the only Franklin County town that she represents. She represents two in Androscoggin County, so.
I don't know how anybody else feels, but, I'd like to see more of the details before I vote yes and no, just like you're saying. I think you explained it well. But that's my feeling. We're still missing information to say yes or no.
Right, and we're not asking for, your, opinion at this time. I think some of the misconception last time was that it was an unfunded mandate or it was going to increase your taxes. I don't think that's a whole completely true. I mean, there's ways that the bill can be written so that the Secretary of State pays for the election and the ballot, and I mean, the budget committee, which you have, members on, can be involved with the salary. Right now, the county commissioners are getting, they get $12,000 a year for 2 meetings a month. Selectmen they meet 2 meetings a month, and they get $2,000 or something. I mean, Will gets $1,600, so.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yep.
My side, but I'm not.
So, I think there was some misinformation last time saying that, that it would be a definitely increase in taxes. I don't believe it has to do that.
Yes, Tim.
I just got a couple things. Last time, with all due respect to everybody, I think that was pushed forward and there was very little, if any, discussion with a lot of towns. I think a handful of people rushed that through without a lot of forethought. That's kind of why I backed away from it, to be honest with you. Knowing you still don't have details, but you have an idea of how those 5 districts would be broken out at this point?
But all I have is the ones that we had last time, that Representative Riley designed, and that would change. The only problem with that, the way she had it set up before, was that the county commissioner in this district would wind up being part of Farmington, which now Lance Harbor is on the west side of the Sandy River. So Lance Harbor and Terry Grand would be from the same district, right? The way it's set up right now. So, but we got reapportionation coming, this year. And that can be worked on. I think the towns could be involved in that, maybe if they wanted to, try to decide. The way she had it, the five largest assessed towns were in different districts. Wilton was in which is the 5th largest assessed town, would be in district number 1. Farmington would be in District 2, but it would be the other side of Sandy River. So West Farmington would have been with Wilton and Temple. Rangeley would be in 3 with, Eustis and Phillips and up north. Carabasset Valley would be with, which they're the highest, Rangeley's the 3rd highest. Carabasset Valley would be with, Kingfield Industry, some of the plantations. And then Jay and Chesterville would be in District 5. And thus Jay is the second highest assessed town in the county. So that's the way she had it set up. Now, the stickler comes that you've got 2 county commissioners, but you can, we had talked about running that out to the next election, and, there's all sorts of things that can be done in the law to, all the towns can be changed somehow. But you gotta have an equal number. That was the easiest way for her to do the districting with the Sandy River, and it came out pretty good.
Now, should Jay drop from number 2 to number 3 and number 4, which is a good chance that could happen, how will that change?
I couldn't hear you.
Sorry, I said there's a chance that with the mill devaluation and everything coming up in April, Jay could drop from number 2 to 3 or 4, depending on that number.
Yeah,
And how does that change?
You would still be, so much farther ahead of any of the other towns. And, I believe Shiloh would know more about that than I. But I mean, your valuation is your valuation is $548,000, or $548 million, and Wilton is half that. So you'd have to lose a lot to get knocked out.
How close is Farmington to that now?
Farmington is 465 million.
And Rangeley and Carabas?
Carabasset Valley is the leader, 658 million. Then Jay at 548, and then Rangeley at 523.
Will Rangeley be affected
Yeah, Rangeley, but
going
that
forward?
wouldn't change, the valuations would change some, but that wouldn't change the district.
Population.
Yeah, population, that wouldn't change the population. The reapportionment would be done according to population. You have to try to get as close to the same number in each district.
And last for me, anyway, at least right now, is I would hope going forward that more towns, whether they be a big town or a small town, have the opportunity to hear some of the things we've heard tonight so that they are better informed also.
Right, and I think that's the key to this, that we get out to the towns and let them know that this is being proposed. I'm going to be, I believe I'm going to be, I'm on Rangeley's Selectmen's meeting on the 4th of January. I'm going to be on Wilton's, I'm going around, and I would hope that the towns would be involved and make suggestions. And I don't want to see, I'm going to probably be a co-sponsor of this bill, but I don't want to see taxes raised. I don't. But if I can help the county have a better representation across the board, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yes, Gary.
Well, I appreciate you coming here tonight and giving us a brief explanation of what we know. We don't know what's in the bill. All we know is the title there now.
Right.
But if you want our opinion, want my opinion, I appreciate it. But talk to the constituents within your district, Sheila, and find out what they want. Because I'm a strong advocate of introducing legislation or having legislation proposed that is supportive of the general population. This gives the population an opportunity to weigh in on it, yes or no. So it wouldn't be the decision of the Board of Selectmen from this board or Wilton or Farmington or Rangeley to proceed. But in light of what we've seen in the previous piece of legislation, I think it was an overwhelming majority, in my estimation, that people like the idea of a smaller number for better representation. And I think that's where this legislation was headed when it was derailed, if you will, because of cost considerations. And I appreciate the fact that they wouldn't incur any additional cost and that the Secretary of State had offered to put this on a regular general election ballot so it doesn't cost the citizens any money. But I appreciate the fact that the citizens would have an opportunity to weigh in on this. and I appreciate your continued supporting of the legislation going forward, and to keep us informed as any changes that could directly affect the town.
I think that's, Gary, I think the best way is a referendum to let people have a voice, and say. It's pretty hard sometimes to get a real good feeling sometimes of what is out there in the community, but when you have a chance to vote on it in a referendum, or a town meeting or whatever the situation is, then the people speak.
And depending on how the legislation comes forth, I would hope that we would get a uniform agreement of the representative of this area, either support or opposed to it. You see what I'm saying? Because a legislative delegation weighs a big difference in Augusta. When you get everybody who is a representative of this district supports this legislation, as opposed to some do, some don't. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Some want amendments or whatever. I mean, you've been there long enough, Russell. Senator, excuse me.
Yeah, it's just, bills have to be put in, and you have to co-sponsor or sponsor, right off, before you get it. So like, for Representative Lyman, it's going to be hard for her. She might want to, send it forward, but she really doesn't know, how the town's going to weigh out. You might not have your vote until after the bill has been
introduced and then discussed and
sponsored. So,
We'll
but
have-
she has the opportunity to vote against it down the road if she doesn't feel it's good, or the town of Jay is opposed. I mean, to put a bill in is just to put forth an idea, and then you have your process to decide whether it's a good bill or bad.
We have to let democracy
Whether
decide
people
that.
want it or whether they don't want it,
Right.
And for me, it's, I have to represent the whole county, all of Franklin County. And I've already made up my mind that I will sponsor the bill. I'm not sure how I'll vote on it, depending on how it's
Sure.
worded,
Yeah.
how towns come out against it or for it. But Carabasset Valley, I believe Rangeley, and a couple other towns are going to say, we want you to put this legislation in because we want it,
I think it's a good idea, and I think it just needs to be fleshed out more by the legislature. Thank you.
And just on your former item, Jay School, I was in contact with the school board this week because they were having the same issues on earned time, substitute teachers, coaches, that kind of thing. So, we got the information they needed, except we didn't have the statutes on how coaches were going. We didn't have a definition on coaches yet, so they're working on it also.
Any other questions for him? Not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell.
Keep it up. Next on the other business, proposed road name. Proposed Treetop Lane private road name, the 911. Questions?
How long's that road been there? Seems like 40 years or more,
Since I've been
hasn't it?
down here.
Right now, it really is like a driveway, but they've put 3 units on it now, so.
Oh, they have 3 other residents on that little
Right,
lane?
There's a mobile home when you first drive in, and then
Okay,
the
yeah.
barn-looking structure has an apartment upstairs now.
Wow.
And then as you go around the corner, there's the large house, so there's 3 there now, so.
So there's no physical street address people receive mail? They're all from a P.O. box or?
No, right now, their
Main
addresses
Street?
are Main Street.
Yeah.
But once you get a certain number on the road, you have to name it as a private road.
Sure. I move the proposal to name that as Treetop Lane.
Motion made and seconded to name Treetop Lane. All those in favor? Dates. December 14th, select board meeting at 6. December 24th, town office closed. December 25th, transfer station and town office closed. Normal curbside pickup on 23rd and the 24th. December 28th, select board meeting at 6. January 1st, transfer station and town office closed. Normal curbside pickup on the 30th and 31st. Before we go into executive session again, I'd like to thank you too for coming down,
Yeah, appreciate it.
giving us the info.
Jerry, before we go into executive session, other business, I'm curious, who is because of this pandemic, I've been concerned about the local health issues arising in our community as well. I know that the town staff has, but who is our local health official or officer?
Leslie Harding.
Leslie Harding?
Yep.
Anyone? That's a 3-year term. When is that term up? Do you have to know offhand?
He's appointed annually.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Okay, I move we go into executive session under MRS Title I, Chapter 13, Section 405, subsection 6A, personnel compensation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?